This conference will now be recorded.
Very warm welcome to all of you. Good evening to all of you, and welcome all to the online embedded systems course. Today is the induction class. So my name is Jay Kumar. I'll be taking you through this entire journey of this particular induction. So basically, we will discuss in depth about how this particular course is structured, what is happening on the placement side, how the placement process works, right? And then what are some of the do's and don'ts, and especially when you're learning online, right? And that to a long-term placement-oriented course, right? So definitely you will have some questions in your mind, how effective the online learning would be, and then learning embedded systems, which includes hardware, how I'm going to tackle that particular challenge of accessing hardware, and how do I clarify my doubts. Is online will be really as effective as on offline, right? Many of you will have that question. And how the placement process works. Our companies are ready to consider online students, right? Like that, a lot of questions will be in your mind. Okay, so we'll ensure that all your questions are answered. We will take this particular session in a kind of a phased manner, and then I'll also pause in between and take your questions, and then we answer and move forward. Okay, so we have a very simple protocol. I request all of you to keep both your video and audio on mute, and you guys can communicate with me using the chat, right? There is a chat window there. You can just type, and then I will answer your question, and then you will move on. Okay, so that way it saves the bandwidth, and also it keeps the session very focused. As you know, right, if many people start talking in the in the call, it kind of gets into sometimes not very focused discussion. Okay, Lokit, may I request you to mute your video? Yeah, thank you. Okay, all right. So let us get started with today's presentation. Let me put it into the slide mode. Okay, so this is induction class, as I mentioned. My name is Jay Kumar. I'll be taking you through this session. I am part of one of the core leadership member, part of the leadership team in Emergy. Okay, I'll also introduce myself a little bit more detail. So let us take a mutual mutual introduction. We'll do so. To introduce Emergy, many of you would have done good amount of search about us. So we are an education company. We are transitioning into edtech because the pandemic has accelerated the technology to be used in the field of learning or education. But we have been in this education segment for the past 18 plus years. Started off in the year 2003. And when we started our company, we had two areas of focus. Education is been there from the beginning, but we also had our focus in the product development or the project execution side. We built some products in the areas like industrial automation, what today people call it as Industry 4.0 or IIoT, and things like, for example, agriculture automation, which people currently known as agri-tech, right? Everywhere the tech is getting attached, like fintech, agri-tech, right, ed-tech, like that. So, but we in some of the products also being quite innovative we developed, but later we thought having two focus for a company will not be good. So we kind of pivoted from the original idea of having two focus, and then we completely went into education. Okay? So we are a set of people who are from the industry. We do have real work experience, building teams, building products, launching them in a commercial manner, right? And then work with global customers, global workforce, and then, but we are really interested in the skill development area. So that's what made us, quit our corporate careers and then, be a part of Emergy. Okay. So some of you will know, we'll also talk about it later in the slide. Emergy is one of the training partners, or TP, with Electronic Sector Skill Council of India, which is one of the skill sector under National Skill Development Corporation, or NSDC. People know it as a Skill India, as a common person's name. Okay, so which also means that the course that you are doing will get certified from NSDC. And there have been some glitches after pandemic, the assessment and everything. and also there were a lot of organizational change in the SSCI side. But thankfully we resolved all of them, and we are reinitiating shortly. Just before this meeting, we had a monthly placement meet. I'm just finishing that, and then I'm coming here. That's why there is a little bit of hiccup to move from one webinar to another webinar. Okay, that's what it is. So before I move on to other slides today, let me also introduce myself. As I said, my name is Jai Kumar. I graduated from NIT Warangal in the year 2001, BTech Computer Science, and then I started my career with a startup company called Ishoni Networks. So Ishoni was building broadband gateways. Some of you know, before broadband came, it was all called as a dial-up connection, which used to be very slow internet connectivity. Broadband came and revolutionized that, and then subsequently the broadband, the name eventually became 3G, 4G. We are in the world of transitioning into 5G, right? So it's all about high-speed internet connectivity, where a lot of networking is involved. So I was part of a team which was building a router or a home-based gateway, we call, involved in the networking protocols in the testing side to start with. I later moved into development, developed some of the routing and switching features like that. I was there for about 2 years, and then I quit that company and went into bigger organization. So once you work in a startup, the mind says, right, go and explore how the big company works, right? So I went to Hewlett Packard, HP, where I spent about 7.5 years, being part of the inkjet printer firmware group. Recently, as I was telling, I'm coming from the monthly placement meeting. Before that, in the month of April, the HP, the division where I used to work on, the inkjet printer firmware team, has been added to our placement portfolio. They recruited one student last month, and good amount of interviews are going on. Hopefully we'll have more placements happening with the HP Incorporated. HP has got two divisions. I was part of HP Inc., which makes all these printer products and many other switching, etc. So that's what I was part of, which I'm glad to inform you, all of you, that which is now part of the placement our portfolio. They're hiring our students, right? So I was there for 7.5 years, led teams, grew in HP into various corporate ladder, and then subsequently I went to Huawei after spending about 7.5 years in HP. Huawei, I spent about 3.5 years heading their embedded Linux group. This particular group was primarily involved in customizing Linux. As you know, Linux is a versatile operating system which runs in watches, which runs in routers and switches, which runs in mobile phone, of course, in form of different avatar called as Android, and the servers, the cloud computing, everywhere Linux runs today. But our team was involved in more on the embedded side of Linux, where they were customizing Linux for various products of Huawei, which include smaller dongle which you use to connect your internet, the 4G dongle, right? And then subsequently the home routers, internet, the enterprise routers, etc. So they were customizing Linux for various product lines. So that was more of a senior leadership position, where I was leading a team of about 60 people, include senior engineers, technical leads, project managers. Right, it was more of a managers reporting into me. That was the structure we had. So after spending these three organizations, 2 years in the startup Ishoni, then 7.5 years in HP, then about 3.5 years in Huawei, right? I thought I will do really something which I really like. It's not that I did not like the other corporate life, but my motivations were very different. I decided that I will do something which is close to my heart, which is nothing but education. I come from a family of educators, and also wanted to do something in the space of technology, education, and do something on my own. That's where Emergy happened. Emergy started by my friend, Mr. Maz, who is a founder and who is the managing director of the organization. He started in the year 2003. And then I stayed in touch with him for quite a long period of time. Then 2013 I quit my corporate career, and then moved on to Emergy from 2014. So it's been about 8-9 years in Emergy. Over the 9 years, I played different roles. Started off in the technical side. I was a mentor, used to teach classes, and then I moved on to the placement side. And then currently I still lead the placement portfolio, and also started handling some of the business related responsibilities. So that's what I do in Emergy. And typically I handle these type of events like webinars and induction classes, monthly placement meet, where there is a interface from to the student is concerned. For me, the slides which I'm sharing, the same slides except few updated ones with respect to the placement data. But what makes this particular interaction very interesting for me, or the motivation factor for me, is the questions that people ask, right? And make it interactive. Exchange as many questions as possible. Clarify all the doubts in your mind, right? So that's what makes this session interesting. Also make it motivating. Also, otherwise, running the same deck makes it very boring for me. Okay. So that's about a brief introduction about Emergy, about myself, and how we will be running this particular session. So my request to all of you is to keep typing questions, right? It may be a small question, big question, doesn't matter. You may feel that maybe silly question, doesn't matter, but it's important that you get it out of your head and get it clarified, in this session. Okay, and some of you may be having some questions related to that. That way, when I answer, I don't answer only that question. Some points around that also I clear, because I know one question is asked, some of the other people will have similar questions. So that way, I know we'll have maximum takeaway by the time we complete this session. So that would be the focus, how we'll be taking this session forward. Okay. So thank you very much for joining our course, right? So I would like to take next few minutes, and I request you to introduce each yourself, right? You can type it in the window. No need to talk, right? As I mentioned, just type it in the window. Your name, of course, I couldn't see your names, but you can still type your college where you graduated, which year you graduated. But in case if you are older batch, or if you have some work experience, or you're currently working, or you've taken a break, whatever maybe your summary, right? Your career summary or your academic summary, you can just type in the window. That will be helpful, right? It is not only helpful for me, it's going to be more helpful for you people, because you are going to be together, right, for quite some time. This is quite a long-term course, and some of you might even crack the placement with the same company, and work in the same team also, right? That's quite normal these days. Two batchmates from the same batch getting job in the same company, right? So that way, it's important for you guys also to stay connected, right? I would like to give some time. I request you to go and introduce yourself. Charles is typing his name. Charles and Vikas. Give me some more details, guys, about your academia and your experience, etc. Go ahead. Vikas Hallikeri and Charles Rohan J. Okay. Go ahead and type your introductions. Teju Parith. Okay. So Neha is telling she has completed MTech in communication system from RV College, currently working in Infosys. Good to know, Neha. We had another similar student just showing in the monthly meet that he was working in Infosys and he could transition into microchip. He got a job in microchip. I think he was also an evening student. His name is Rohit. I don't know whether you know him. Then we have Lohit. Okay, Lohit is telling Lohit, I'm graduated from, probably got broken. Let him type. And then we have Nikita Sate. Nikita is saying doing engineering in electrical field from Pune University. Now I'm in last year of engineering. So means last year means you will be graduating in 2022 or 23. Neha, that would help. Please clarify that. Then we have Sanjana. Sanjana is from KSIT 2019 from ECE, working in IT sector for 1.6 years at TrueTech. Okay, are you still working, Sanjana, or are you on a break? Maybe that would help me to understand your profile better. Then we have Manjunath Balikai is from Gadag, graduated from Kamala and Venkatappa M. Angadi College of Engineering Technology, Lakshmeshwar, in electrical and electronics engineering stream. Okay. So Manjunath, which year did you pass out? What you have been doing? We can add some more info. It will be helpful. Then Neha is telling graduated in 2021. That's good to know, Neha. Let us see, more introductions are coming in. Let me just briefly read through. Then we have Shweta Kalnade. She is completed B instrumentation, currently working with Vigo Instrument Corporation. Okay, so where it is located, Shweta, which place is Vigo Instruments, and what is your current role? That would help me to understand. Then we have Prabhakar, completed BE from SM VIT College in 2016. Currently working as a hardware testing engineer in Alpha LSEC Defense and Aerospace Private Limited. Okay. Prabhakar, is it company based out of Bangalore or which city this company, Alpha LSEC?
It's in Bangalore, sir. It's near Pinia.
Okay. We have Manjunath. Okay. You're from 2021. Okay. Then Sanjana is telling, I left my IT job to get into core job. All right, Sanjana. Okay, good. That means you can spend the complete time skilling yourself in the core segment. Good to know that. Then we have Girish. Girish Sonar is from ECE 2021. Again from the same college, Kamala and Sri Venkatappa. Pretty long name, huh? This college name. Kamala and Sri Venkatappa Yam Agadi College of Engineering Technology, Lakshmeshwar. Okay, from Kundgold, Dharwad district and Karnataka state. Thanks, Girish, for your introduction. And then we have Shreya. Shreya Fasalkar completed BE in Mechanical Engineering 2021 pass out. Currently doing CSD program of Cognizant. I don't know what is the CSD program, Shreya. If you can just tell me, it will helpful. Okay, I don't know. I don't understand the word CSD. Then we have Advait Vijayan, completed BTech in 2020, coming from College of Engineering, Chenganur. Currently working in Quest Global, have 1.5 years experience. Okay, good to know, Advait. Then we have Ramya BN, studying in Ambedkar College Engineering, electrical batch, will be graduating in 2022. Good to know. We can start seeing more 2022s as they are kind of wrapping up their engineering course. Then we have Abhay Kulkarni, NBNCOE, Solapur, Maharashtra, EC 2020. Experience, 1 year of experience in IT, now focusing only ECEP, plan to excel in core field. Very good. I'm happy to see that you quit your job and do that. And Shweta is telling at Andheri. Okay, got your company name. Then we have Binu Sebastian. Binu, I don't know, only your name has come. Please share some more information. Then we have Guru Pandi. Guru Pandi from Tamil Nadu, 2018. Then completed graduation from Tandai Periyar Government College of Technology. Currently working as an automation engineer at Wistron, Bangalore. Okay, good to know that, Guru. Shweta is working as a QA. Okay, Manjunath is saying searching for a job. Good. Then Nandini, I had completed my bachelor degree in K. Ramakrishnan College of Engineering. I'm a 2018 pass out. So Nandini, from 2018, it would be good if you let me know what you've been doing. Like, did you work somewhere or you were on a break? If you are on a break, nothing to worry. You can just share me so that I'll get an idea. Absolutely fine. Then you have Prabhakar. Okay, it's in Bangalore. Okay, all right. That company name is telling. Then he is telling Vijay Kumar Sharma. He's completed his BTech in 2014 from Electronics and Communication. Currently working as a hardware engineer in Delhi. Good to know, Vijay. Then we have Charles, graduated in BE Aeronautical from ACS College of Engineering 2021, working in TE connectivity. Okay, all right. Then we have Nisarga, currently studying final year BE, electrical branch, Dr. AIT. I think a couple of them are there. Oh, one more. I think 3-4 of you are from same college. I think Nivedita, Nisarga, I saw one more student, right? You all probably are classmates coming, about to pass out. Then we have Vastav, MTech graduate working in Mirafra. Oh, Mirafra is one of our hiring companies. Good to know that, Vastav. Then we have Vikas. I've done my MTech in electronics from HJC Mysuru 2021. Currently working in L&T. Good to know that. Then Nandini is saying, I don't have any experience, sir. I have been preparing for government exams since 2018. No problem. Thanks for sharing. Did all of you introduce? Did anybody miss? I think Teju, I'm not sure whether you introduced yourself. Vishal Jadhav, I don't see you introduce yourself. Sai, Sanjana, you can give us a little bit of brief, it will help us. Even Banu Pratap, I don't see he gave any introduction. Okay, so Banu Pratap, okay, now he's typing 2019 pass out, currently working in TP Vision as a manual tester. All right. So I am Sai, presently working as a testing engineer. Okay, all right. Okay. So thank you very much, guys, for your brief introduction. Right. So a couple of more questions before I start. We do this course demo webinar, once in a month. Okay, there is an introduction coming from Binu Sebastian from Kerala, currently a diploma candidate from NDTF. and currently I'm working as at Micropack Limited as a PCB cam engineer. All right, yeah, good to know, Binu. So coming back, like we do this monthly course demo webinar where myself and my colleague Mubin does it on a monthly basis, where we reach out to people who have showed interest towards our course. There was more of a pre introduction we do, which we did, I think, last week, Friday or so. Can you just confirm if you attended that webinar, course demo webinar? All of you, just say yes if you attended. If you say no, you're not attended.
No,
Just
sir.
go ahead. No, you can just type it. Yeah. Abhay is telling yes. Nikita, Shreya says yes. Giri says no. Guru Pandi says yes. Suchit, Sanjana, Suchit, no. Okay. Vikas is telling yes. Vastav is telling no. Okay. No. Okay. Fine. Sai is telling no. Akshay, Banu. Okay. Not a problem. Okay. Thanks. Just wanted to know how many of you attended, because some of the sections, not all of them, because when we host this as an external webinar, right, we cannot go much detail into our course. We need to go a little broader in sense. Some of the slides maybe we would have covered in that webinar also, but even though it's there, we'll go in much more detail. Now that you are our student, right, we need to know really things in detail. Okay, that's why I asked, right? So another quick question before we start, right? How did you come to know about Emergy? What is your source? Your friend told, or you search in Google, or even if you attend a webinar, what is your first source? How did you come to know about Emergy? Can you type? One senior suggested, says Ramya. Okay, good. Friends, says Manjunath. Okay, from my friend, my senior told. Through website, says Nandini. Senior. Okay. Friend, Banu Pratap. Google, LinkedIn, friend, website, friend told. Through Instagram, says Nikita. Okay, good to know that. Friend, says Sai. Friend, internet, website. My senior suggested, says Vijay Kumar Sharma. Okay. Good, very good. Okay, so if you see, a good number of our people who join our course, right? Brother, okay. Oh, your brother studied here, Abhay, by any chance? Senior, he said alumni is Abhishek. Okay, Teju, lot of Abhisheks, so I don't remember exactly Teju. Okay, maybe I'm not able to quickly recollect. Okay, senior. Okay, Abhay, did your brother also study in university by any chance? Abhay Kulkarni? Because if you see good chunk of you, right? Okay. He says yes. Wow. Okay. Good number of our alumni is referring to their brothers, right? And recently we seeing, right, elder brother, younger brothers, both studying in university, getting jobs, right? Hopefully we'll view out some Kulkarni brother story after some time. Both of you getting jobs to us, right? Very glad to see that. That also, reiterates our belief that when somebody suggested, whether it's a friend, senior, brother, friend's friend, or whatever, right? They have got some benefit through our system. They built their skill set, and then subsequently they want you also to get benefited by going through the same journey, right? That's why they recommended you, right? And especially I know when we talk about career journey, right, there's something where you need to either change your trajectory from an IT to a core, or you're working in some kind of a job which is not giving you so much of growth. You wanted to totally give a new look to yourself, new avatar to yourself as an embedded engineer, and then give a career shift, or you're a fresher who just wanted to join the course and subsequently move forward, whatever may be the reason, your friend or your senior or somebody has given you with a goodwill in their mind, right? That's what we all believe in. Hopefully you all will take the tradition forward. You also get benefited from this course, achieve your goal in terms of getting a break into core segment, core job, right? And then and then tell others also, right? Let us spread more positivity and hope to others, right? So thank you very much for all your introduction. So let us move on with subsequent slides, right? Okay. So before getting into that, as I said, right, since I lead placements in Induction, the initial set of slides, I do talk about some of the placement updates, what is recently happening in the placement and things like that. Because good number of you, even though you attended our webinar, or you would have been in touch with our counselors, or your brother would have told, etc., right? The number one question in all your minds would be, right, what about placements, right? Will I be able to get the placements, or are there enough companies hiring? And the older the batch is, right, the question will be all the more worrying, right? Like you're seeing, right? Somebody's telling I'm a 2018 pass out, and somebody's typing here I'm a 2022 pass out, right? So immediately they'll feel, oh, 2022 is coming, I'm a 4-year-old batch, right? So what about me, like that, right? There is always a concern in your mind, so it's important that we clear that out of your minds, so that when you move to the technical side of the course and then get into a little bit of detail, you will be able to completely focus. So that's the reason I share some updates about the placements and then subsequently move into the technical or the course side of it, right? So let us talk about the job market, right? What is happening in the job market, not necessarily in the embedded segment, across all the segments. Probably you are hearing about the topics like Great Resignation, or the Indian startup success story. It could be many names. It's been known as. But across the board, what is happening? There has been a tremendous momentum in the job market. At least if you look at last 8 to 10 months, companies are struggling to hire skilled engineers, right? Especially when you talk about core companies where we deal with our placement companies. And anyone we talk to, because we talk to companies on a very regular basis. These days it's become more. Yesterday I was in a meeting, today I was in a meeting, right? Whether you talk to a 20 people company, whether you talk to a 200 people company, or whether you talk to a 2000 people company, they all have one problem in common, saying that I'm not getting the right talent I want, right? Quantity is there. For example, in India, we have lakhs of graduates are coming out every year, and people who are also looking for the break, right? Some of you are working in some different fields who wanted to get into this world, right? The quantity is there, but the gap is there in terms of skill, right? That's exactly where we are coming in. But the positive news is that there's a lot of momentum. I'll show you some data points just to reiterate what I'm talking about, right? And other thing is like, any big company today you look at earlier, for example, companies like Honeywell, even I was telling a few minutes back, HP, these type of companies were very well restricting themselves to only, certain colleges. When they talk about hiring some entry level engineers, right? They were only restricting themselves to a set of, premium engineering colleges. It could be in form of IIT, NIT, or any similar colleges, right? They were not coming much on the off campus, right? Which is changing very fast due to many reasons, right? I will tell you a couple of reasons. One reason is some of you will already know, right? The Indian startup success story is, really taking a new turn. Companies like, for example, Razorpay, company like OLX, companies like Uber, right? They're all scaling new heights. Where in Indian society, especially among parents, it has become an accepted phenomena that it's okay, it's absolutely fine to work for a startup, right? Rather than working for a big brand. For example, when we were graduating, when you go and tell I work for Wipro or I work for TCS, right? It was a big deal because oh, you work for a Tata company, oh, you work for Azim Premji's company. And Infosys, though, even more compelling because say, oh, you're working for an Narayan Murthy's company, like that, right? So that landscape is changed significantly. Where today, if you look at a tier 1 college student, when they're graduating, right, they want to work for startups, right? So when these companies like Honeywell or Continental, Robert Bosch, when they go and make offers to those students, right, they are not getting much of the people joining them because they move on to startups. So this is one phenomenon. Second phenomenon is that these organizations are getting huge amount of projects to execute. Due to pandemic, one reason. Another reason which I learned off late, even though it might not be directly related, but it's all happening. It is because of Russia and Ukraine war, which is creating a lot of instability in Europe, in Russia. So companies are finding India is much more safer place, thankfully, touch wood, right? And they're also finding Indians are much more adaptable and much more flexible. So because of which a lot of work is moving to India, right? On the contrary, these core companies cannot go and hire their engineers from anywhere and everywhere because as some of you are working people, right? If you take a skill like IT, right? Suppose I wanted to train somebody in a skill like Java, it is easy to train somebody, and it is easy for the student also to learn. Okay? But a technology like embedded systems or IoT, or even for that matter VLSI design, that's not something very straightforward or very very simple, right? Or if you want to relate to it, right? Just look at yourself, right? How many Java training institutes are there? Many of you are coming from different part of the country. Some of you coming from towns, etc. Right? If you go to even a small town in India, you will find Java training institutes, right? But Look at embedded system training, right? Even in big cities like Bangalore, you may hardly find 3 or 4, right? It's always a competition. Well, I go to Emergy or ARB, right? You guys know what is ARB, right? So that's what it is, right? So the companies cannot attract tier 1 students. At the same time, they cannot go to tier 2 because they won't get the skill. So that's why they need to look for alternative channels. That's where an organization like Emergy, who have been doing this skill building for the past 18 plus years, we have a structure in place, we have a process in place, whether it is an online, offline, right? So that way it becomes very attractive for them to come and hire our students and then give them opportunities. I'll show you some statistics, the latest April statistics shortly. And other part, you might have already heard about a phenomena called semiconductor crisis, where globally the semiconductors have, due to pandemic, the semiconductor production has gone for a stall, right? And then the demand for semiconductors is on a continuous rise, right? And then if you look at the chip manufacturing or the semiconductor manufacturing, which has been traditionally happening in countries like China, right, which is changing quite fast, especially after pandemic. The overall trust quotient on China has significantly come down. That's where countries like India is trying to cash in more. And if you look at a couple of days back, we put up somebody mentioned about Instagram, right? So a couple of days back, we put out a message in our Instagram saying that there is a Indian semiconductor conference is happening. I don't. This is the first conference that is happening where India is looking beyond software. Setting up fab. Or setting up chip manufacturing out of India. Chip manufacturing is not that easy, right? So these type of things, again, when you talk about chip manufacturing getting added, definitely it will add more jobs in the areas like board design, VLSI design, embedded system design, etc. Right? So it's going to add more jobs as we move forward, right? So semiconductor crisis is turning out to be an opportunity for India, right? And if you look at the domestic innovations, right? If you look at things like, for example, the electric vehicle phenomena, right, which is creating huge opportunities. If you look at even a traditional, manufacturing companies, right, or a company like Mahindra, right? I'll talk about it. They've been recruiting our student recently, right? So they are driving more jobs, right? Every company, either an existing automotive company is transitioning into a EV, or newer players, company like, for example, Ola or Ether Energy are coming in, which is driving more jobs. Especially if we talk about EV in Indian context, we are talking about two-wheelers, right? So that's what this is all about, right? Coming more jobs, right? What is the fundamental takeaway from this, right? More jobs are chasing lesser number of skilled people. Okay, that's why there is a huge challenge with respect to demand and supply. Okay, supply is at short, demand is at high. Okay? So that way, it's absolutely right time for all of you to skill yourself, right? You identified the gap that is existing in you, right? You need to skill yourself. That itself, I would say, the 50% of the battle is won. The remaining 50%, you need to fight in terms of skilling yourself. That's where our mentors come in, our processes and tools come in, right? And our placement team come in. We'll ensure that you are skilling yourself so that you can achieve the dream of getting into the core job. Okay? So you may be wondering, what does it mean to you, right? These high-level trends might look very, it look like a little theoretical, or talking in a conference. I don't know. Some of you are not on mute. Just a minute. 1 minute. I don't know. Some of you are not on mute. Let me mute. There's some noise coming. I'm trying to check that. Oh, I think we are okay now. Right. So what is the current situation? I spoke about some of the trends, high-level trends. What does it mean to an emerging student, right? A student like you, right, who are willing to have a career, right? If you look at April, it's closed very well in terms of placements. As you know, this slide I just moved from our monthly meeting slide, right, which I had before this meeting. It has been the second quarter. The Jan, Feb, March is first quarter, and April is the second quarter. It's been a blockbuster. So there's been a continuous demand, as I mentioned, right? Some of the factors, as I mentioned, right, the post-COVID world is coming out, more investment into digitization, geopolitical things like, for example, the Russia, Ukraine war, or even the semiconductor crisis are adding more into, creating more jobs in India. Okay. So some of the success stories, anyways, I walked through in the webinar, right? Recently, if you look at, for example, as of today, Mahindra Electric, Honeywell, they're all hiring good numbers. For example, Mahindra Electric has hired 10 students this week. Last week, drive has happened. Honeywell, this morning, we got an update that they hired 10 students. And LG has come up with a requirement that they need to hire 50 people, right? So it's pouring, right, as days are progressing, right? And as I mentioned, we could break through with the HP Inc. And then the first success story has happened. And we are proliferating more. Once we demonstrate that success, right, what happens? More team will want to join, right? Okay, hey, you could hire a guy from this institute, why don't I also come, right? So more teams are coming in, more interviews are happening this way, right? And a lot of mid-size and startups are coming up, right, in India. Either they're taking work from a big company and doing, or they're doing an indigenous product development, right? A lot of names you might not even known, but they're really doing a good work. All of them are in a core area, right? So that way it's really good. And this is the data, right? This is the number of company visits, or what you call number of placement applications. So when a company comes, they say there is a skill set they require, we went and float, right? So consistently we have been getting 100 plus companies every month. If you look at April, it is breaking newer and newer numbers, right? If you look at it, 130 companies or 130 placement applications have floated in April as of today. When I say April as of today afternoon 1:30, because even after that some more numbers have been updated, right? I could not get a chance to update this, right? 130 applications have been put up, which means to say what, on an average, even if you let us say, for example, 21 or 22 days of working days per month, right, leaving the Saturdays and Sundays, right, almost like 4 to 5 companies are coming every day. Okay. In fact, our placement team is struggling to schedule the students, because, as you know, right, in a single day, how many interviews we can schedule, right? Our students also getting double booked, right? We also need to, at the same time, we also need to give equal priority to all the companies. We always tell any recruiting company that we don't want to do any partiality, because for us, a company coming and giving an opportunity to our student, helping them to get placed is what, we welcome them. We don't distinguish, right? So we are struggling to schedule. So that's a scenario, right? You can see how the numbers are shaping up. And this is the another slide I show, which is with respect to number of actual drives are happened. Because what happens when you float an application, later I'll share in terms of the process, right? We share the list to the company, and the company will subsequently shortlist, and they provide us with a list of students, and then we send them for a written test or an interview, right? So if you look at the green green towers, right, which is like the 2022 towers, right, this has been going really well. If you see, right, on an average we have been clocking 50 plus interviews every month, right? And this month though, we are already crossed 78 interviews, right? 78 companies, they already conducted the either written test or process, right? If you see the compared to other 2 years, right, if you look at the blue towers, right, blue ones are nothing but the 2020. And if you look at, especially when the pandemic has struck, when the first wave has come, if you look at the March, April, the 2 years exactly back, right? Okay, it was really, really bad. And even though last year, if you look at typically the same time last year, it was really bad because it was a second wave. As you know, second wave was really devastating. Even then also, if you see, right, we were clocking around 25 to 30 companies per month, right? That was a kind of a comparison you can think, right? Okay, but it is in no comparison. If you look at as of today, right, just look at the drive happened in April, right? In 2020, it was hardly one drive, because that's when the nationwide lockdown was announced, right? In 22, you had 29 drives, okay, coming in. And you see, right, it's like a 78. There is a comparison between 29 and 78, right? It's itself is like kind of 4 times, or 3.5 times, whatever you can call, right? And 1 to 29 to 78, right? And anyways, we still have another 2 to 3 days left, right? We hopefully hit 80 plus in this particular month, right? So as I told in the beginning, this is absolutely a great time. Okay, the wave, if you ask me, the job surge which we started seeing in the second half of last year, which is when we started seeing good amount of momentum. In fact, October 2021 was very important for us, because that's when we saw, right, for example, 51 placement drives have happened. You can see the the arrow mark where it is stopping. right? 51 placement drives have happened, but from there, even if this year the green towers what you are watching, right, has been absolutely a great run so far. So and the message for all of you is one, the job market is on a high growth trajectory across all the segments, right? Two, with respect to embedded, it is becoming really, really super hot. Three, companies are increasingly recognizing the importance of work that we do as an organization, the skill building. Four, irrespective of anything that you are, we are a 2019 pass out, 18 pass out, 22 pass out, I'm a 6.5 CGPA or I'm a 7.5 CGPA, those things are not going to matter anymore. All it is going to matter is, once now that you joined this particular course, what are you going to do from tomorrow, right? When your batch is going to start, how well you are going to be as a part of the skill building journey. Because when I asked some of them, right, I had like 2018 I passed out, I prepared for some particular examination, one of the students has said, right? So, and some of them, even though they're on job, they're not very happy. They said, no, I could do more, right? People, for example, one student said, I'm an MTech from RV, right? I studied some core area, but I'm working in totally unrelated, right? All those challenges can be resolved, whether you have an year gap or you are in a job which is not suiting to an aspiration. Every challenge can be resolved provided you are committed and work with us, work with our team of mentors, work with our placement team, and we are here to support you, right? So once you are willing to travel with us, so definitely sky is the limit. In terms of opportunity, the reason why I showed these graphs and data is to basically give you perspective of how amazing job market is. Even let us say 2 years back, right? Exactly 2 years back when the first wave was stuck, we're all in a very bad shape. The country went for a lockdown. Students were asked to vacate the paying guest accommodation. You can see, right, from there, how well we have grown in terms of the job opportunity, right? So it's absolutely great time to be in the job market, skill yourself, right? And then I'm pretty sure as long as you follow our process, you also can achieve, take benefit of this opportunity and achieve whatever the goal that you come here for. Okay. So I always used to tell this during this used to be my favorite slide during the pandemic because the morale was low. I used to tell them that every difficulty the world has faced, right, as a human race, right, be it a 9/11 attack or a 2008 Lehman Brothers, real estate meltdown in the US, or 2020 COVID. What we call in COVID today, we call it as a V-shaped recovery, right? We went and steeply fallen, right? Now if you see, right, how the job market is bouncing back. Okay, so it's whatever we saw, the history is repeating itself, right? Okay, so that's it, folks. I would like to pause here and take any questions that you may have. You can type, or if you feel that it's fine, sir, I understood whatever you said so far, you can type that as well. Okay, so please go ahead. I'll pause for some time. Do you have any questions? Or if you don't have any questions, you can type no questions or I am clear, right? So that I can move to the technical side of the course. Please go ahead and respond. Okay, Vikas is telling clear. Probably folks who attended the webinar, I'm sure we showed much more data, but still I want to ensure that there's no question that is missed. Abhay, Nivedita, Neha, Ramya, Manjunath, Guru, Vinay, Sanjana. Okay, great. Good to see all of you are clear in your mind, Nandini. Okay, Yeju. Okay. Great. Shall we move forward to the technical section to understand a little bit more about modules, etc.? Shall we move forward? Ramya is telling yes. I want to see some more yeses. Guru, Nisarga, Sanjana. All right. Thank you very much. We'll move on to the technical side or get into more of a course details. Right? We'll again come back to placement. We'll talk about a bit about what you call the placement process, right? But still we'll get into the course part of it, right? So we'll get an overview and get into the course details. Placements again will come back. Certification we'll talk about and some of the do's and don'ts. Okay, so the next section is more to talk about course, right? So what are we trying to do as an organization, which we initially mentioned? As I mentioned, that skill building challenges faced across all the levels, entry level, mid level, senior level. We offer training programs, okay, as a company. And Emergy's philosophy is always been, making things hands-on, right? One of the key reasons why people are not able to crack the core job. And if you look at today's in the academia, even though they study so many subjects. For example, at undergrad level, people study about 40 to 45 subjects. In some other colleges, there are more than that. And if you do a post graduation, you again, go through another 15, 20, 30. I don't know how many subjects you go through. But hindsight, around that 70, 75 papers you go through, or the 40, 45 or 50 undergraduate subjects that you go through, majority of the time you end up building a theoretical knowledge, right? All of your things looks good in terms of paper, your academia is great, your CGPA looks good, but when it comes to applying that particular knowledge, right, that's where the challenge is, where the education is not made you practical, the education has not made you hands-on. Okay? So that's exactly where we step in, right, and ensure that we maintain a 70-30 ratio between theory and practical. 70% will be practical, 30% will be theory, to ensure that you understand the principle and you apply. And in Emergy, when you say you learned means you apply and have something working. Suppose you come and tell, I studied about for loop, right? It's not about writing an exam. Show me 10 programs, right, that using which you can, where the for loop is applied and it is working, right? Working program is the demonstration that you learned something. Okay, so that's what we do. And when we make things hands-on and make you learn in a practical manner, naturally the skill improvement happens, the confidence improves, because time and again I've been asked about how do I build my communication skills. My communication skills is not good, my English is not good, I don't know whether I'll be able to crack the interview, etc. It all boils down to confidence, right? But when you are learning things in a very hands-on way, naturally your confidence will be increasing and you will be able to express yourself better in the interview, and then the result happens, right? And result is what you're all seeing in terms of people cracking core jobs. So let us get into a bit of course, right? In the course, what are we trying to do? We are trying to basically um, you know um, um, address this skill gap which I mentioned, and make you people ready to deploy engineers. So what do we tell to the hiring companies? We tell to the hiring companies that instead of you hiring from any tier 1 college, or even for that matter when you hire a tier 2 college student or anybody at a entry level, the companies need to further invest a lot in terms of training them, in terms of making them ready for the project. So what we tell them is, when you take our students, right, at least you are able to reduce the training time and reduce the time to make them ready for the project by 50%, right? We also commit few things to you, and we commit some certain things to the companies also. So that's the transition or the transformation that we commit to the companies. And this is we call it as an Emergy Certified Embedded Professional, or ECEP course. That's a course name that we're given the initial days of Emergy. We still follow that, and it's a 5-month program. And if you look at the mode of delivery, that's why we need to spend a little bit more time to understand exactly how this course is going to get delivered. People who attended the course webinar got a course demo webinar, got a view of it, but still there are few basic understanding that you need to have with respect to how the course is going to get delivered, right? So if you look at this course delivery mechanism, there are two components that has been mentioned there. If you look at, one is like what you call it as a virtual classrooms. So virtual classrooms are easy to understand, because that's what we are doing now, okay? Because there is a live person who is talking on the other side, okay? And then there's a tool like GoToWebinar, or this could be Zoom or anything like that, right? And then you are interacting with the mentor or the presenter, like using in form of a chat. That's what we do. Or sometimes we can even do a video or audio based calls, right? So that is fairly understandable. Probably some of you would have attended a lot of webinars, or people who are working from home. A good number of your working people here would have done your meetings, etc., via this virtual mechanism, right? but what, according to us, right, the major differentiation, right, and that's fairly self-understandable, right? The major differentiation comes in form of what we call as a interventions, right? Okay. So we need to spend some time in understanding the word called intervention and what do we mean, right? So before I explain this concept or this idea of intervention, I would like to get your responses on, have you done any online course so far of any form? Okay. And which portal or platform you done your online course? Can you type in the window? Have you done any online course? If you done, which platform you have done or which portal you have done? So Vastav says is done from Udemy. Then Soham says is done from Coursera. Can I get some more responses? Udemy. Let me see. Sanjana is also telling Udemy. Okay, almost good number of you. Shweta, Vikas, they're all telling Udemy. Okay, yes, Udemy. Abhay is also telling, right? Okay. So let me take an example of Udemy itself, because good number of you are, done your course in Udemy, right? Okay. And for time being, let us assuming that let us not complicate it by putting it as a placement oriented, non-placement oriented, right? Let us take a simple example of learning C programming. Okay. C programming, you go, search in Udemy or Coursera. Let's say Udemy we're taking as a case here. Typically, those courses have priced around $10, right? Or somewhere, if you convert into Indian rupees, 400 rupees, 500 rupees, right? Typically, what we spend for a ticket in a multiplex, right? That too, after a long time, I went for this movie, KGF 2, right? It's still a blockbuster. The ticket itself was, I think, 300, 350 rupees, and you go there. The popcorn itself will cost you another 200-300 rupees, like that, right? So if you spend that money, you can buy a course. That's what I'm trying to relate, right? You can buy a Udemy course with the same price what you spend for a multiplex theater, money, or the money you spend for popcorn. Okay, it's become so cheap. And the quality is pretty good. Okay, all the Udemy courses I myself have taken, and people who have done the Udemy courses would also agree. And even if you go to other portals, I don't know, some of you would have heard about portals like EDX, where, or even for that matter, I don't know why many of you are not referring. There's a portal called NPTEL, where professors from IITs come and teach. And if you go to EDX, we have professors coming from Harvard, MIT, they all teach, right? We have class of people from a different league comes and teach, right? But let us, coming back to Udemy, right? What exactly is the limitation of Udemy? And just to give a point to ponder about, statistically, if you see, even though Udemy sells millions of courses, only 3% of students complete Udemy courses. Only 3% complete. It's a recent article just come up. 3% of the students only complete the Udemy courses. All of us will buy, like as I said, you pay the multiplex theater price, you buy a Udemy course, right? But only 3% of them complete. That means there is some limitation, right? According to you, what is the limitation or what is the challenge in learning from Udemy? So that I can come back and explain about the intervention part, so that you will be able to appreciate. What is the challenge? What is the issue? What is the problem in learning from Udemy? Can I get some answers? If you answer that, then it'll be easy for me. Okay. So Vastav is saying it's a one-way traffic, not much interaction. Very nice point. There is no interaction that is happening, especially in an online session. What happens, right? At least in the classroom, right? I always tell students, right? I can crack some jokes. I can see your face. If some student is a little bit sleepy, you can ask more question to the student. Or even sometimes in classes, I make them play some games just to physically lift them up. Let us say 2:30 in the afternoon, I'm doing a class, right? Generally, we tend to sleep. It's a human nature, right? Okay. So interaction is a challenge, right? Which Vastav has rightly called out in online learning. So what happens in case of Udemy? You just press the play button and you're sitting and you're watching. Probably you may lose interest or you probably sleep, right? Shweta is telling, right, the right answer, more student answer, I would say, in form of boring, right? There's no interesting thing. theek hai. He's coming, he's telling something, explaining concept after concept after concept, like, watching. It's as good as watching binge watching your, what do you call the Netflix series, right? That's a problem, right? And another very important thing that Vikas is trying to tell is no doubt clearing. See, learning is not only about consuming content, right? Now I'm telling you guys, let us say in an induction, right? You guys are consuming the content. That's one portion of it, right? But the real outcome when it comes to learning is you guys should produce the output, isn't it? Or putting back to the cricketing analogy, right? I'm fond of cricket, right? And anyways, IPL season is also there. I mean, I don't know how many of you are cricket fans here, right? You take the teacher is like a coach, right? The teacher or a mentor can do a big job. They can explain the technique of the game. They can observe the player, right? And then they can give them some specific feedback, etc. But at the end of the day, it is up to the player when they go to the field. The player should play, right? It's not the coach can come and play, right? So the output should always come from the student, not from the teacher or not from the mentor, right? So what happens when the student has to produce the output, right? If it is a one-way traffic, what Vastav has mentioned, output will not come. Or even if it comes from only the 3% of the people. That's why if you see, right, you buy the course, you will feel that the course topic is so relevant, so latest. They give fantastic content associated with that, amazing content. So the content alone will not help. Somebody needs to ensure that you consume the content, you also produce the output. Okay? Especially if you put it in the concept of placement oriented course, I would say, the output is everything. Okay, it's not, nobody's going to value you if you go and tell, hey, I took a 40 hours of video, 40 hours of videos I listened from university, right? Nobody's going to give a value. Rather you say, I listened to 40 hours of video, hey, here are the 2 projects I've built, and here is the resume where it is having the particular projects mentioned. That's what is going to make a difference. Okay, that's where our intervention comes into picture, right? Let me go to next slide and explain better. So this is what is happening as an online learner today. Shweta really nailed the right word called boring. Right? Why? Because somebody is intervening you, right? Somebody is intervening you, right? Why? Because video after video, video after video, content after content, content after content, right? So you're finding it quite boring to go through all those videos, right? Learn, you are expecting, which is not the interactive, right? Or if I'm stuck somewhere, nobody is there to help me, right? All the challenges are there. So that's where in Emergy, what we do, we take this approach, right? Where we say, of course, content is there. Any course is all about content. Without content, we cannot teach anything. Even if I'm taking induction class, there's a content in form of this PPT, right? Content is there. Without content, there is no course or learning, right? But content alone will not help. In a way, if you ask me, Udemy gives far more better content, that too for free. Especially if you go to many portal, IIT professors class lecture for free, wonderful content. But the IIT professor will not come and clear your doubts, or nobody know MIT professor will come and solve your doubts, which is important, especially when you're talking about placement-oriented course. That's when we say our course, the virtual classroom, what you're going to attend every day, 2 hours, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., that is only part of the story. Your main story is about the labs, about the doubt clearing, about you showing the project to the mentor and getting it evaluated, right? This whole package is what we call it as intervention. Intervention means what? Somebody is intervening you, right? You're doing something, we say, hey, don't intervene me, right? That's what we mean. Somebody has to intervene you at some particular timeline. They need to clarify your doubts, or support you, and finally tell how well you are done, because feedback is very important. Because otherwise, what we'll think, we all think we are doing great, right? But when it comes to real feedback, then I can improve on here, right? That is what makes the learning outcome-based learning. That is what is our focus. Okay? Hope you're able to understand the difference, fundamental difference between, otherwise even my friends also used to ask me, hey, you guys launched online course. So what? What is the big difference, right? I tell them it's not about the content, it's about the intervention. That is where our value addition, if you ask me, the lab support is what important. Okay. Are you able to see the difference, guys? Why exactly, where exactly our course is different from Udemy? Can you get some responses? Are you able to understand the word intervention and what it means? Can I get some responses? Okay, Shweta says yes. Okay, Vikas. Okay, Nikita. Okay, fine, cool. Okay, so that's where our this type of the comprehensive or whatever immersive delivery model comes into picture, where the live or the virtual classroom plays an important role. But followed by that, every in your case for the evening batch, every day there'll be 1 hour of session from 5 to 6 p.m. before your 6 to 7 p.m. Before your regular class starts. There'll be a 1 hour of lab explainer session where the mentor will explain the lab assignments to you. Okay, where you will understand. And once you understand, when you go and code yourself, when you start programming itself, that's where all the other issues happen. I'm getting stuck in between, or I have some doubt, or my program is half working, half not working, etc. So that's where the WhatsApp chat or the forum based support comes into picture, where the mentor clarify the doubt. And finally, once you are done with your work, you go and submit, right, where somebody evaluates and gives you the feedback, right? And not only that, when it comes to a placement oriented course, right, the even though some of you may be very regular and doing all these things, nothing can substitute by by having a prep sessions. That's why we do a range of preparatory sessions, like we call it as a disha. Under disha we do various activities. In subsequent slides I'll talk about it, right? So where you get into basically the resume preparation, interview facing, company specific preparation sessions. For example, a company has come, they will create a group only with a shortlisted set of students. They will share materials from the previous interviews, right? And one student, let us say, attended interview today, he or she will come and share their learnings to the next batch student, so that he can grasp those points and then go forward. So a lot of prep also important, right? No matter how much ever day you study, the previous day to the exam matters, right? So that's what happens in form of prep session. So this comprehensive approach is what makes you guys skill improvement outcome based, because of which we achieve placements. Okay, so this is a fundamental understanding you should have how our sessions are different, right? That's where we ensure that all our sessions are live sessions. Okay, of course we record and give it to you. And this session also is getting recorded, as in the beginning itself I done, because some of them may want to have it for future reference, or some of the students might be joining late, or there is a network connectivity issue, etc., etc., right? Okay, so every class will get recorded and we'll give it to you. That is more of a additional thing, right? Where after that you suppose a technical topic, right? You attended but you forgot some point, right? You want to revise and then come back on the next day, right? For such things the recording helps, right? But recording, more than that, live sessions are very, very important, where we make it interactive and the person is always talking and there's an engagement because of interactivity and you don't feel boring, right? Okay, so that's what is the fundamental idea. So let us move on. Other point we need to understand, which was which comes to your anybody's mind. Let me just go off the slide for a minute. Is about hardware, right? Because when you talk about embedded systems, it's all about hardware. Guys, my video looks okay, or you see there's a lag in the video. I don't know whether my computer is slow or the network is slow. Is both the video and audio are okay? Otherwise, I need to go off the video. Are you finding okay? Video, audio, is it in sync? Okay. Manjuna says, okay, so far good. All right, no problem. Today I'm feeling a little bit of lag. I don't know, maybe I'm having for audio, I'm using my phone. Maybe there is some lag between that. Okay, no problem. I'll use both. Because, coming to the point of hardware, right? So let me just show you guys this one, the hardware. So in our course, there are two modules which require the hardware support. So one is like a microcontroller module. So if you come to our center, basically the offline student, when they come, we held them this particular Labs PIC CAN board. You can see here. So this board is what we give it to them. They come and they check out from our reception. They take it to their place. You can see here there's a controller. It has got all the peripherals, and interfaces like 7-segment displays and keypads, right, and various other interfaces are there, right. So this is what they do, and then when they go back home, they return back to the admin team and then go, right. So when we started this particular course online, we also pondered about multiple approaches, whether we ship the board to you people or we ask your people to buy the board and all. But eventually, our mentors have resolved this challenge by coming up with a simulator called Pixim Lab. So Pixim Lab is a simulator. Folks who attended the webinar would know, right? They Mubin ran through a video of how this particular thing works. Nevertheless, even if you're not attended, no worries. So this particular thing is a simulator. You can see here in the picture, right? This looks exactly like the board, right? And this will be running as a part of your computer. Okay, you don't need to buy the board. You can use this board. This will be running, and you can download the code. As you can see, you can go to the file and you can download your code, and then it will work just like the way how it works in the physical board. Okay, so this way you will not have any compromise by either you are learning through a simulator or you are learning through a board. But if you as a student, if you really particular, no sir, I really want to learn from the board, you can buy the board. We already shared the example. You can very well buy the board, and then you can use the board for your learning, right. So this is what we do with respect to our microcontroller module, where the hardware dependency is there, right. So in the similar lines, for another module which is dependent on the hardware is called as embedded Linux module. And for embedded Linux module, we use this particular board called BeagleBone Black. Okay, so BeagleBone Black is again an ARM processor, which again it's one of the famous one. You can go and buy in any popular website today. You can see it just costs around 5,000 rupees. So this particular board is what that ARM based thing, and using which you can download an OS into it, and then port OS, and then here also you can do a lot of experiment around it, right. Again, instead of this board, what our mentors have done, they come up with another mechanism, another simulator. It's called as a Chemu emulator. Okay, chemu.org. Again, this emulates the hardware. You will not be able to make out much here from this picture. You can, but if you just want to have a logical view, you can see here this particular command says x86, which is nothing but the native instruction set. But if you execute another command, it says it's an ARM based instruction set, right. So this way you are able to simulate an ARM instruction set in an x86 based computer, right. You'll learn more about it, nothing to worry now. So what in net I'm trying to say is, like instead of learning through the board, our mentors have solved this particular challenge by learning through the Pixim Lab and the Chemu simulator. Okay, and these two simulators are open source, they're free, and then your learning will not have any compromise. Either you're learning through a physical board or you're using an emulator. Okay, so this is the second difference in the understand, because when I'm explaining the offline student, because tomorrow we are starting a offline batch in our center, right. But online student typically will have this question, right. So is it as effective as online? How do I resolve the challenge of hardware? So I thought I will clarify that. Okay. Now coming to the skills and capabilities, that's where the modules come into picture. So what we call it as a levels, multiple levels. For example, when you start this particular course, you start with level 1 modules, which consist of Linux systems, C and C++ programming. When you say Linux systems is what you call an introductory introductory Linux module, because Linux you learn at 3 levels. I'll talk about it in a few minutes. So Linux systems primarily introduces you to Linux, because majority of you would have learned Windows, right? Quickly, I want to check, did anybody used Linux so far in any form? Have you ever used Linux so far? Just type yes or no. Okay, Charles is telling yes. No, says Nikita. Okay, then Nandini and Vastav says yes. Okay. Company only to start the company server, says Abhay. Okay. Very minimal. Even if you had used it, right, you would have used it at a very minimal level. You would not have done programming or anything related to the system side, right? Very minimal. Yeah, because it's also telling, understand, right? So what this module will start, right? It will first introduce you to Linux and how to start using Linux, right? It will teach you about Linux commands, right? How to write Linux shell scripting using, the bash shell, right, etc., etc. So that's the first level idea about Linux, right? So once you gain this particular knowledge, you move on to the programming module, which is nothing but the C and C++ programming, which is the most challenging module, I would say. Okay, because when I say C programming, all of you would say, hey, what is so challenging, sir? We already studied in college, etc. But in college, what you have done, you guys have majorly by-hearted a program, right? You never written a code on yourself, or even if you have written, it would have been on a very small level. Okay. So what I always tell our students is, for example, by the time you finish your C programming, a small, self-assessment for you, you need to ask is, can I write 500 lines of C code on my own? Okay, 500 lines of code on your own. If I give a problem statement, you should be in a position to break it into modules, code it in C, and run it. 500 lines. Okay, so you'll be able to build such capabilities, right? And that's not easy. That requires a lot of effort. In fact, C programming is the longest module in our entire embedded systems course, right? And then our C++ will focus on more of an object-oriented programming, right? So that you'll get an idea of that as well. Right? So put together, if you see these three modules, right, which takes around 3 months to complete, and that's when we say once you complete Linux, C and C++ programming, you can start applying for placements. Right? Start applying for placement. That's where you can say, in your counseling time, they would have told you, right? You can start applying for placements because we want you to build one level skill at least, right? Okay. And subsequently, what you do, you move on to level 2, where you learn about next level of modules. For example, you learn this particular module called data structures, where you take your C programming into next level. Where I would say by the end of data structures, you learn about, let us say, various abstract data types like linked list, queues, tags, etc. Where by the completion of data structure module, you should be able to write comfortably 1,000 lines of code. That is the capability that you should be building. Okay. In the similar lines, for example, the Linux system, you take your Linux learning into next level by moving on to module called, Linux internals and TCP/IP network. So if you look at Linux internals and TCP/IP networking, that's where you learn about various, you take your Linux learning to next level, where you learn about Linux kernel, about multitasking, multi-threading, interprocess communication mechanism, and then networking, primarily the TCP/IP networking, UDP, and TCP sockets, etc., where you push your Linux understanding to from a level 1 to level 2. And of course, no embedded course will be complete without learning microcontroller, which I mentioned. Using a PICSIM lab, you will program a hardware, and that particular hardware will not have any OS, right? It is like what you call as a single tasking system or a bare metal programming, where you download your code into the PICSIM lab or any other board that I shown. Some of you might have done some programming, using boards like Arduino or anything similar to that, where you directly dump the program into the hardware. Not only that, it will have different interfaces like what is shown in terms of keypad or LCD, etc., using which you'll be able to build an embedded system on your own. This is like a level 2. Then subsequently, what you do, you move on to the level 3, where you take your Linux understanding, as I said, right, Linux systems to Linux internal was level 1 to 2 jumping. Then subsequently, you move on to embedded Linux, where you run Linux on a hardware. That's where the ARM hardware comes into picture, which I showed you, where you build a multitasking Linux running in a hardware. So far you've done running Linux on the PC, but you'll run the Linux in a target board now. So that's like a real skill improvement, which you called as a level 3. Okay. This is how your skill transition will happen. And then of course the other things like, for example, your placement preparations and the energy certifications, Disha workshops are there, in which you can start applying from level 1. Okay. This is how your skill improvement will happen from level 1 and level 2 and level 3. Just up and move on. My PC is slow today. I don't know why. Yes, I think we move on. It will not harm. Yeah. So anything that we do in Emergy get assessed. It's very important to pay attention to it. Every class there'll be an attendance, assignments, projects, weekly tests, module tests, etc. And all these tests or mechanisms will be practical based. For example, when it say I'm a weekly test, right, it will be larger extent, it will be coding based, where it will not be based on theoretical, where you say, hey, explain about pointers. It will not be like that, right? There'll be source code which will be given, which you need to figure it out what's wrong in that code, or you need to write a particular code and show the output, right? So every point that is mentioned in this particular screen, right, whether it is assignment, projects, weekly test, and module test, will be completely a practical based assessment, okay, which you will be assessed and also given feedbacks and grades. Okay. So once you are given feedback and grade, eventually it will be mapping you into a what you call as a progress report on how well you've been performing in the course. Okay. So that's where all the zones come into picture: green zone, orange zone, yellow zone, red zone, and the black zone, depending on the overall evaluation. Right, I showed about 4 to 5 ways in which are factors in which you will be assessed. Overall, you will be graded into any one of these bands, right? This is important for you to pay attention, because majority of times people say I am from older batch, or I'm having a lesser academia percentage, etc. Right? As I told, that doesn't matter anymore. Okay, because the companies are coming here to pick you based on a particular skill, right? And our progress report is a exact reflection of how well you learned a particular skill from. For example, somebody may be having a lower score in their college or in their engineering, but they will be on the performing well in our course. For example, they will be in the green zone. So what does it mean? That particular student will get placed soon. Okay, that's what is the idea, right? And even companies also increasingly asking, apart from their academic score, whatever you are representing in your resume, they're asking in your course how well they perform, right? Are they on the top? Are they in the middle? Suppose they say, for example, recently, I think a couple of days back, we floated a Qualcomm application. Okay, I think we got a good response. I don't know, about 150 some people have applied. Now from there, we only need to pick 10 people or 15 people. Right? They don't have the patience to interview all the 150 people. Right? They may say pick only top 10, pick only top 20, right? And we'll be picking you based on this particular factor. Okay, like how well you are performing. So coming back, whatever we mentioned, the initial initial portion of this particular induction class, more than your year of pass out and more than your percentage, your performance in our course matters a lot. That way, please ensure that you are regular, you are working hard, and then you score well in our exams or in your assessment system. And we spoke about Disha. Disha is where we do various preparation activities. As I mentioned, preparation plays a very important role when it comes to placements, be it preparing resume, be it doing some workshop about how to face technical interviews, how to face HR interviews, or some of you may be having aspiration to do higher studies. In that case, providing you with letter of recommendation and mock interviews and company specific preparation sessions, right? And as I mentioned, right, we do monthly placement meetings where I meet the students and then give them update about placements and do a live Q&A and clarify their queries about placements on a month-on-month basis. Because now you are entering in the course after, let us say, 3 months. Once you start applying, you will have different set of questions, right? When you're before joining the course, you had some set of questions. After joining the course, you'll have another set of questions, right? So those type of questions we will be answering in the monthly meet. That way, there's a constant guidance and mentoring. And as you see the word called Disha, right? Disha itself says direction, so that you are getting right set of guidance for your future career. That's what we do. Now coming back again to the placement section, we'll be covering a little bit about the process point of view, because in the first slide, if you see first section of the presentation, we discussed about high level trends, the job market trends, right? And then we spoke about overall month-on-month placement drive that is happening and other things. But now we need to understand it from the process point of view, how exactly it works, right? Okay. So if you look at now, we have completed 2 sections. One is the job placement trends and job market aspects. Then in the section 2, we covered the technical part of the course, right? Basically all the modules and what you will be learning in each module. And by the end of the module, what you will be capable of, and by when you can start applying for placements, and then how the course is going to get delivered and where exactly our differentiation comes in the form of interventions, right? Hope you are able to get a view. Can you get some answers? Are you able to connect so far? Whatever is being explained, can you get some responses? How are you finding the session? Able to connect? Okay, Shreya, Lohit, Ramya, Charles, Nivedita. Great. Okay. Now we'll move on to the last section about the placements. So placements, basically, you know, it's a very simple process we have in place. All of you will be added into a Google group automatically. Our team will take care. You know, like today we do induction, and maybe for a few more days they will keep the admission open for this particular batch, right? So once they close the admission, they have all your data. You have submitted it already, right? So they'll take your email ID and add you into the Google group. Let me quickly show the Google group how it works. Then we can come back again to the slide. Go to Gmail. 1 second, let me go off the screen a minute. My system is a little slow today, I don't know. Wait a minute, my system seems to be pretty slow today. All right, yeah. So you can see here, this is our Google group, okay, where the entire communication about placement happens, right? For example, you know, which company came, you know, you can see, you know, it will be coming with this particular thing called apply now. Okay, you can see today, let us say today is like, you know, you can see 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 companies have, you know, come, and there was one interview schedule. You can see, right, 1 o'clock, there is an interview schedule. And if you look at yesterday, right, 1, 2, 3, right, almost like 4 to 5 new companies will be coming, and few schedules also, which I mentioned initially. This is action, right? This is exactly where the entire action happens. So let us say, for example, you want to, you know, have a look into this particular, you know, application. Let us say, for an example, Danla, right? So the entire information will be given here. For example, the company website and what the company does, right? Basically all the skill set required. So this is important to pay attention to. When I said from which module you can apply, right? It will say, right, student who completed C module can apply. And then what is the academic criteria in terms of your engineering degree, etc. What will be the salary, right? And then any bond, entry mode, right? And then there is also a cutoff given. For example, it says tomorrow, 29th by 10 a.m. Right? So what you need to do, you need to study this. You go through this, assuming that you are fine with all these things. You need to just click here. It will be a Google form. Okay, so again, those information will be given here. So you need to just fill all the information which the company has requested to us, right? And then you need to, you know, basically submit the form. Okay, and then there's a cutoff given, as you can see. Tomorrow by 10 a.m. means they will close the application by then. Okay. So once they close the application, okay, once you apply, and then subsequently we will share the, you know, the application will reach us, and we will do what you call internal shortlisting. Okay, company shortlist, and then we will share with the company. And then the company also will do their shortlisting, and, you know, we'll let you know who and all got shortlisted. That's what you saw many other files, right? interview schedule and all. That will have an attachment. Let me just show you guys if you want. I'll just go back. Let us say an interview schedule. You can see, right? AC Win Solutions. You can see that these students got shortlisted, 2 of them. And if it goes here, Altair Engineering, you can see online interview schedule. You can see here. Let me click here. You can see, right? These 3 students got shortlisted. And these 3 students will eventually get a separate notification about, what to do next. When is the interview, what tool to use, right? So they will get a separate notification. So that way you keep on attending the placement drives. Then there are 2 scenarios can happen, right? The best case scenario is something where you are attending the interviews or you're attending the process and you get selected, right? And you are getting selected before even the course comes to an end, right? In that case, what happens is automatically the companies who are hiring from us would expect you to join them immediately. So which means to say you need to go and join the company, immediately. And you guys will not have any problem because you're already in the evening batch. You can continue the module. But in case, let us say there is an offline student or there's an online student who is studying in the morning slot, but he or she joins the company, we shift them automatically to the evening batch. You guys have the advantage there also, right? So that you can continue, even though you join the company. Let us say you have 1 or 2 modules left, for example, right? You can continue in the same 7 to 9 p.m. after your work hours and go for the certification, right? Then there's one more other scenario where, let us say, for example, you have, attended few companies. Your course is over, but you're not got placed. Okay, there are 2 scenarios. One is like you get placed before the course. Okay? 4 modules you completed, got selected, go and join immediately. Remaining modules you complete in the evening slot. The other scenario is that you attended, let's say you attended 10 interviews, 5 interviews, right? But you did not get placed, but your course got over, right? So that's where our other point comes into picture, where if you remember, our counselors would have told you, we'll be giving you with 2 years of unlimited placement opportunities. So let me draw a quick, diagram and then explain this so that you understand this. So let us say that you are starting this particular course from April end. Let us say you are starting from May, right? Hardly you can consider yourself May only, right? May 22. So let us say 5-month course, give and take, another 15-20 days or a month we can add. So let us say May, June, July, August, September, October you will be completing the course. So let us say October 22. This is when you complete the course, right? As I mentioned, once you complete the 3rd month onwards, after 3rd month you can start applying. Means May, June, July. So let us say July is here. Let us say tentatively put it, and then we'll say this is July 22. So you can start applying from here. In case you get placed before October, well and good, you can go and join. But your question may be, what if I completed the course, but I have not got placed, right? That's where from October 22 to 2 years, which means to say, let us say, draw the line further. Then we'll say October 24, right? So these 24 months, right? These 24 months, you'll get unlimited placement opportunity to us, 24 months. And of course, this we don't mention, even though we give, right? This is another 2-3 months. But if you ask me logically, 24 months and then 2-3 months before, like 3 months, 27 months is what you actually get. 2 years and 3 months is what you actually get, okay? Which is even actually more than what we tell, 2 years, right? You can start applying for the 3rd month, right? So here in the 24 month of window, you can keep preparing and you can keep on and basically, applying for company, right? Here, one point, keep it in mind is like, even though you can attend multiple interviews, right? As you saw, right? 100 plus companies are coming every month. And it is very normal that on a given day, you may be attending 2 interviews or 1 written test, 1 interview, right? You can attend them in any sequence that as and when they come up. But please ensure you will be getting only 1 job offer. Let us say, for example, you're attending company A, B, and C, right? A, you attended the written test, B, you attended the interview, C, you are waiting for the HR round, let us say. Among these A, B, and C, right, any one offer can come first, right? It depends. Let us say You're waiting that HR interview will soon happen, but maybe the HR has gone on leave, right? But the written test which you took, the next day itself they finished everything. It can happen, right? We really don't know. That purely depends on the dynamics of the company, the recruiting company, right? So once you get an offer from any company, right? It could be A, it could be B, or it could be C. Okay, you have to join that particular company. You cannot say, sir, I got an offer from A which is 5 lakhs, but you know what, company C is a 7 lakhs company. Can I get that opportunity? No. Okay. You don't need to do anything. Once you get an offer from A, our placement team will automatically take care. Go and tell company B and C, saying that, suppose let us say, for example, Ramya got an offer from A. We go and tell, saying that, hey, you know, company B, company C, Ramya, the student, got selected with company A. Okay. So if she's not available, we'll automatically take you out of the list. You don't need to do anything. Our team will take care in the back end. Okay. Now you may be wondering why we are doing this, right? There are two angles to it. Let me explain so that you understand the merit of this, why we do this. One, we promise the companies, okay, that our students will join 100%. Right? They won't reject the offer. If you remember, one of the initial point what I was mentioning, one of the reasons why companies come to us, right, are one of the problems that especially these MNC companies are facing with tier 1 colleges. They make an offer, but students don't join because they go and join these new age startups or these type of companies, right? So if they come to us and we also give them the same trouble, why they should come to us, right? So that's what we say, because what happens? Suppose A and C is there, you go and join C. Naturally, you don't join A. Of course, you can all the time join one company, right? So it will be an offer rejection. So from the company standpoint, we commit to them that our students will always go with one offer. This is point number one. Point number two, what happens is in Emergy, we don't want a scenario where one student get two opportunities or two jobs and another student goes out without a job. For example, I don't want a scenario where, let's say Nivedita gets two jobs and she got a company A and company B, right? But Nisarga, she's not getting job. We don't want a scenario. I want Nivedita also go with one job. I want Nisarga also go with one job. Okay, so it's fair from the student also. So what happens naturally, the moment I take Nivedita from company B and company C, I'm naturally increasing the probability of Nisarga is getting selected, right? That opportunity will get passed on to Nisarga. So she gets selected. Okay. So I hope you're able to understand this concept, guys. Why we don't allow, see, multiple interviews I can attend. Okay, don't take it serious. No, sir, I'll apply one company, I'll complete, then only I'll go to multiple next application. Don't do that. You as much as possible, as long as you're eligible, you're liking the company, right? You are completed the modules, go ahead and apply. Don't stop yourself. Don't miss the opportunity. Having said that, right, there is a system in place where we always ensure that you only chase one job opportunity. Are you able to see the merit why we are doing that? Can I get some responses? Because this may be in your mind, right? If I get more salaried company, can I go? The answer is no. You can always go for one company. Are you able to see the merit of it? Can I get some responses? Ellis, okay, got it, sir. Okay. Yes, sir. Okay. Mr. Admin Ellis. Okay, great. Okay, thank you, guys. Okay. So let me move on. Few more slides. We are kind of closing in. Then we always say certain placement eligibility, right? In terms of percentage and completion of assignments and placement eligibility test and all. So which we say from the compliance perspective, but on a practical timeline, we don't strictly go with that. But we recommend that you complete as many assignments and as many projects as you can, right? This is more for our compliance perspective. Okay. So job roles, as I said, we have companies hiring from all possible verticals and horizontals. Companies, all our companies are from the core segment, but they all come from aeronautical or automotive, consumer electronics, telecom, IoT, robotics, right, automation, etc. So they're hiring for various roles. For example, testing, tuning, customization, application development, OS bring up, board bring up, etc. Right. So your job will be a combination of one vertical and horizontal. For example, one company may come and hire you. For example, an aeronautical company, they may come and hire you for an OS bring up type of a job. Okay. For example, another company may be there, and consumer electronics company, they may come and hire you for this type of a role. Okay, whereas an IoT company may hire you for a testing type of role, right? It's a combination of a vertical and a role. That's how your career will get started once you get selected. So some important points, as I already mentioned, placement will start once you complete the level 1 modules. Okay, regular attendance and following our instructions, which is very, very important. Okay, maybe you have a lot of limitation challenges, but all those things can be overcome. We can only win in the job market provided you are very disciplined, you are giving that much required amount of time. Okay, especially evening batch people, I often hear that they only attend the class but they don't do the lab, only come 7 to 9 p.m. especially working people only come and do the 7 to 9 p.m. they do ignore the lab or they don't submit the assignment. If you do that, your placements will not happen, your career transition will not happen. As I already mentioned, your career transition is happening mainly because you are doing things in a hands-on practical way and you have a resume to showcase all the things. So please ensure you are very regular and you don't miss any classes. Okay? And when you are going for a written test, right, questions will come from basically the basic aptitude, the mathematical aspect of it, the analytical aspect of it. They even ask about basic electronics, or even for that matter, your final year project, right? So our mentors do not have the bandwidth or time to prepare you in basic aptitude. Okay? They're busy in doing their own classes. So it is your responsibility to prepare them. Okay? If you're that way, I would say you can start preparing from today itself, right? There's no separate aptitude preparation. And if you start preparing, that will be, you have another 3-month window to go. You'll be much better position. Okay? Because often I see students, they do well in the C programming or the embedded side, but they flunk in the general aptitude, right? But in the overall cutoff, the company would expect you to do well in both the sections, right? Here they do well, here they don't do well. So overall, they don't clear the written test. So don't be in the situation. Ensure that you prepare these on your own very well. Okay. And horizontals and verticals will vary, because if we have all the vertical companies are hiring, all the horizontal roles they are hiring, or in fact the same company, when they hire 2 students, let us say for example, 1 student will go to development, another student will go to testing, right? So all those things are very well possible. Okay, you don't need to bother much. As our promise is to get you started with the core, then you become a specialist, right? That's a thing that you can do, take it as a step number 2. Okay, hope these are clear. This is a very important slide. Please pay attention to it. Okay. When you are attending placements, okay, there are certain behavior, or there are certain actions which you should not be doing. Okay. So in case you do, there are 4 lines that are mentioned there in the red color. In case you do any of these 4 things, you will be blacklisted from placements. Okay. Which means to say you will not be getting any more opportunities from us to attend for placements. You can continue the class, you can continue the labs, you can get certification, no problem, but you will not be allowed to attend the placements. Okay. So what are those conditions? Okay. So as I said, point number 1, right? Company specific information. I showed you an example of Danla today, okay, in terms of the company website, in terms of the package, in terms of bond, whether it's a work from home or from office, where the work location. Every information is transparently shared with you upfront in form of job application. Okay. In case you are not finding comfortable with certain points, for example, some companies say your work location can be anywhere. You should be willing to work in, let us say, Hyderabad, Bangalore, or Chennai. For example, big companies do that. Let us say L&T or Tech Mahindra, these type of companies who got a pan-India presence, right? So any of those terms and conditions or any of those things, if it is not comfortable for you, right, better you don't apply. Okay. But we don't want a scenario where you apply, you get selected, and in the final moment you come and tell us saying that, sir, it's not okay with us, right? Or some students will come and say, sir, my father says the salary is less, right? Or my uncle says don't go to this particular city and work, right? So those type of reasons will not be acceptable. You're okay not to apply. There is no force, right? As I showed you, 100+ companies are coming every month, right? You are the best judge to apply, decide whether you can apply or not apply. That will leave it completely to you. We recommend something, but we don't force anything on any emergency student, because it's your career decision, right? But once you apply, once you get selected, you have to join, because we promise that to the companies, right? Otherwise, we are creating the same problem of what a tier one organization colleges these companies are facing. That's point number one. Second thing is, once you're shortlisted, as you saw, the interview notification or the written test notification will be sent to you. Once you are given a schedule for a test or interview, right? No absenteeism is allowed. Okay, similar to a job offer, we expect all of you to attend the process. We don't want a scenario where a company shortlists, let us say, 20 people and only 2 students attend the process. Right? That also puts. Please note, any of these acts when you do, right, it puts Emergy in a bad light. They will not be thinking, okay, this student or that student. They'll say student from Emergy. We end up taking the bad name, and they will hold us accountable for that, right? So yes, in case of that interview day or a day before, things can go wrong. You may fall sick, or somebody else may fall sick, or there's some issue that happens. And especially last year and all, when the pandemic was at peak, right, many of us faced challenges, right? So we say in such instances, at least 24 hours before, you need to let our placement team know and share their phone number, details, everything shortly in the subsequent slides, right? That I will not be able to attend this interview at least 24 hours before, so that we also inform a company, say that this 1 or 2 students will not be able to attend. That's fine. But if you don't inform us and you don't go to the interview also, you will be blacklisted. So please, pay attention to it, right? Third point, okay? When you say you are a particular era pass out, or some of you mentioned that you have some work experience, you work in a particular company, and this is my CGPA or percentage, we completely trust you. Okay, for example, every placement company, every document, we don't have time to basically evaluate or do a verification check, right? But once you get selected, okay, companies will do something called document verification or a background verification, right? And that particular time, if you produced any document which is not true, okay, for example, sometime back, couple of instances happened, okay, where one student had a supplementary. Okay, we tell some people who are supplementary, you should not apply for placements. You clear the supplementary, then we can give ample time. We still give you the 2 years after you complete the supplementary. We give that support to the student. But what this student has done, he has somehow sneaked through the process. He went and got selected, and he went and joined. It was L&T, right? And finally, big companies like L&T take a lot of time, and when they basically started doing the document verification process, right, this guy was caught, okay? And immediately he was terminated from the duties. Okay? So this is also not acceptable, and they will call you before they do take any action. Then my phone rings, right? They say, hey, this guy has done what to do, right? Then I told, what is your policy? They said, we'll terminate. Companies take such things very seriously. Okay? It's not like I forgot this, that, another thing. So don't do that. Okay? The fourth point is about, if you are absent for any interview preparation or any mock interview sessions, then also you will be blacklisted. Our mentors put a lot of effort in conducting mock interviews. Imagine the mock interviews being scheduled and you're not showing up for the interview. That won't look good. Okay? So in any of the situations you are caught, okay, you will be blacklisted. And generally when this happens, they will call parents, they'll bring uncle, or they will make some continuous request. They will make phone calls from different numbers, etc., etc. Okay, please note, we are very flexible. We are very accommodative when it comes to your course, your doubt clearing, etc. But this is a zone where we just cannot tolerate. The simple reason being, these acts will dent Emergy's impression with placement companies, which you built over times. Please note, any of these things you do, it affects, except for point number 4, the initial 3 points directly affects our relationship with placement companies. Why we should tolerate, right? For you guys, what, like you are one batch, right? You need to take care of all the batch students, right? So don't get into this particular issue. Okay, ensure that you follow the process and communicate, and we are ready to give you the necessary benefit of doubt. If you communicate to us 24 hours before, we are fine with that. Okay, hope you are able to understand about the blacklisting process. Can I get some confirmation? Are you able to understand about the blacklisting, why we kept this particular process? There is a reason behind it, right? Okay, so please don't get into this. Then they will approach Lokesh, our placement manager, then they'll reach out to me that time I will not be talking to you guys like this, right? I'll be very harsh with you, right? People will know my face only then when they're in that zone. I don't even meet you, right? So don't get into that trouble. Okay, so that's very, very wrong thing to happen for you. Okay? All right, so that's about the placement. I think we discussed about all these things. Till how long I'll get, can I choose between two job offers, should I apply to all companies, what type of companies are hiring, internal external shortlisting, how do I get more shortlisting, you perform well, be in the higher side of the performance, more opportunities will come to you. Okay, NSDC certification, basically, as I said, we are a training partner with Skill India. Let me quickly show you the certificate. So by the end of the course, there'll be a assessment panel will be coming from Skill India. They'll be assessing our students and giving you the certification. No need to bother much because we have 100% pass rate. If you've done our assignments and projects, right, you don't need to worry. All our students clear this NSDC certification with 100% pass rate. Okay, so I'll quickly show you an example of this certification. As I said, there have been some logistics issue which we are resolved now. The ESS certification, this week we are initiating again. For example, let us open a student certificate. This is how it will look like. You can see there in the screen. So this is a soft copy. As per the NSDC mandate, we should be only giving the hard copy of it. So we will take care. We'll take a print of it, and you can see, right, the institution name, issued by, and signature. So we'll put our emergency seal and signature. We'll laminate, and then we will sending it to you via courier or a speed post. Okay. So that way you can see, right, it's coming from Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, right? All the prominent institution logos are there: Skill India, ECEP, and then NSDC, and it's also QR code enabled. This is a good merit certificate to have on your profile. Okay. And of course, we also give emergency certificates that you can provide. We can give anytime. Okay, not an issue. Okay, kind of moving to the last but one slide. So these are all the do's and don'ts. Be regular, as I already told, very, very important. Especially it's a placement oriented and the hands-on oriented training. If you miss a session, you cannot make it up by studying your friend's notes or doing it on your own. You miss significant portion of it. Ensure that you don't miss, and follow the instructions, whatever the mentors are telling. That's a simple thing to do. Okay, and appreciate it's a system driven. Communicate more, especially if you're an online student sitting remotely. It's quite challenging in terms of communication. That's where all the tools are there today. The daily you will meet mentors in form of webinars. We have WhatsApp groups in place, forums in place, right? So you can communicate, continuously improve as time progresses. Learn from your peers and classmates. That's why I mentioned it in the initial time. I asked, we spent good amount of time in introducing each other's, right? So that way, later point in time, you help out each other. Suppose Guru attends an interview, share it with Vinay. Now, Vinay has failed in an interview, right? He know where he did a mistake. Share it with Neha, right? So that way you can help out each other. Okay, encourage each other. Don'ts, right? Don't miss the classes. Don't assume things. In fact, in the monthly meeting today, there is a lot of assumptions. People, and then what happens? Kali Dimag means people put a lot of unwanted things, right? Okay, don't assume things. Anyways, I'll be meeting, especially with respect to placements. I'll meet you on a monthly basis. Clear out all the questions. Show data and speak. Right? Don't go by emotion. Don't go by somebody makes some statement. In that batch, no placement happened. For older batch, no placements are happening. So don't go by that. Okay? If you have doubt, ask us. We'll clarify, and we'll clarify with data points. Okay? We'll show the data and then show it statistically that what is happening. Right? Whether it's a good news, bad news, we are open about it. If you see our placement data, is there in our website, it's there in our social media. And we'll be, anyways, your Google group is there. Once you join, it's like a live telecast. It will keep coming. Okay, so no need to feel anything about it, right? And suppose when you attending a session, right? Suppose if you are not understanding a mentor's teaching, or if you find some difficulty, don't attack the mentor personally or get into arguments. Right? Come and give us a feedback, and we are always open. We also will reach out to you people, take your feedback, and we also believe, right? We have a lot of improvements to make. Okay? Even though we have been in this area for a long time, right? If you ask me, I can give you a big list both in the technical side, mentoring side, placement side. We can do a lot of improvements, right? So suggest us, we all, help us also to become better. We are open about it, right? Okay, so let us have a positive, encouraging, motivating environment, so that we all achieve, you guys can achieve our goals, and we also grow as an organization, right? Okay. In some set of action items for you. Next, anyways, our admin team will be reaching out to you, creating you with the necessary logins, adding into the Google group, and then subsequently you start with your Linux systems class. The first one will be installing Linux in your laptop. So please ensure that you keep one partition empty so that you can install Linux. Both the dual boot as well as the the VirtualBox based methods are there. Our lab installation class, it will be held by Mr. Christie. He will explain you that. Okay. And also, follow whatever is being told. So your thing will start with installing Linux, and subsequently the sessions will move on. So please take a screenshot of this screen. Very, very important. Your contact points, especially for online students, because offline means at least you can see us and then do that. But here you are all remotely studying. For all administration related queries, please get in touch with Ms. Azma. I think some of you are already interacting with her. Anything related with fees, receipts, first installment, second installment, distribution fees, you need receipts for that, a receipt was not okay, etc. Please talk to Azma. Be given the email ID and the phone number. All these things are mobile numbers, by the way, right? And once you start the classes, you require various other class and all the lab related questions and queries in terms of labs, your leaves, in case you want to change a batch, etc. So there's a support ID is there, support at emergency, and then the phone number given there. And then once you start applying for placements, there's a dedicated placement ID, placement manager, Mr. Lokesh, his number is given there, with whom you can talk about shortlisting, joining dates, any offer letters, etc., feedback. Suppose you attended a written test. Naturally, all of you will be curious, right? Did it clear or not? You can talk with him and he will be able to clarify. Okay. So please use these channels effectively. Our team is very active. Even our mentor team is very, very active, especially for online students. I reiterate it. Okay, so do not remain isolated. Okay, please communicate. Our team will be there to assist you. And this is our coordinates. If you're in case you're based out of Bangalore, you can, we are based out of MG Road, and you can come down and want to say hi to us. And in terms of social media, we are active on all, even Google My Business also we do. But I know many of you will not be seeing My Business, etc. So largely our student community is in Instagram, so we are very active. Even the Facebook also we post. Facebook, I don't think many of us see. Instagram and LinkedIn are our primary channels. We are very active. We keep posting a lot of things, right? I just want to quickly check with all of you. Are you there in any one of the channels? Yes, no? Either one, Insta, LinkedIn. Are you following us? Okay. Okay, great. If you're already there, that's really good. Okay, cool. Okay. Okay, very nice. I think most of you are in Insta, am I right? There, LinkedIn. Some of them are there. Some of them are LinkedIn. Can you also type which channel you are in, Insta or LinkedIn or both? Okay, Neha says both. Insta, both. Okay, great. LinkedIn, both. Insta, LinkedIn, great. No problem. Anyway, if your channel, do that, and time to time there are some information will be there which you can share it with the outside people also, among your friends, your juniors. For example, we keep running masterclass webinars where we monthly invite external speakers to come and share their knowledge. Did anyone attend our masterclass webinars here? Yes, no? Did anybody attend masterclass webinars? Okay, no. Okay. Okay, some of you said yes. Nikita says yes. Okay. So every month, first Saturday, we use it for that. The May 7th, we are planning the one which will be based on drones. Anyways, you will get notification. You are our student now, right? You get Google groups. Of course, you have a WhatsApp group for your each and every batch. Did you join your WhatsApp group already? Yes, no? Can I get some confirmation? Your batch WhatsApp group. Did all of you join? Very good. Very good. And some of you are saying no. Let me put the link. Give me a minute. I'll put a link so that you join. Very, very important, right? And masterclass webinars, please share it with your friends, let them attend. And we also roll out free internships for college grads. We are currently open for registration with an IoT internship, which will be a 4 to 6 weeks program, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. live sessions again. That's a free internship for college grads, college students. Anyways, you'll find once you join the course, right? We'll also reach out to you. So feel free to share the information about webinars and free internships, right? That way, we also encourage more people be aware of this domain, be aware of career opportunities, etc. Okay. So please follow us in any one of these channels. Okay. So that's it, folks. Very welcome once again to all of you. Let me share the links in case some of you said you're not joined WhatsApp, right? Give me a minute. I will just pull up the links. And then I'll also tell you your next steps. Give me a minute. Team has shared some information. So this is for people who have not joined the WhatsApp group. Let me type here. I'm just putting a link there. So please click and join your WhatsApp group. Please do that, your batch WhatsApp. And these are all your timings for your batch. Just type it. So today's is the induction class. Today is Thursday. So typically my team takes a day to plan things up. I think that's a typical thing that they're doing. So your classes will start from Monday, right? So tomorrow, Friday, no need to log in, right? Saturday, Sunday, this Saturday, Sunday, leave it. Monday, please join using the same link, 7 p.m. And then subsequently the classes will start. As you can see in the chat, the class timings from 10 to 9 p.m. Monday to Friday. On Saturday, the class is at 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. because we work till 4 p.m. only on Saturday. That on alternative Saturday. Anyways, the mentors would have scheduled at 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. And the labs typically from 6 p.m. to 6:45 p.m. Because 7 o'clock we have class. Every day you'll have lab, the assignment explaination session. Okay. So for initial few days, there won't be any labs. So don't log in on Monday at 6 p.m. and expect a lab to happen, right? So initial few days, there won't be any labs because the mentor requires some time to cover enough subjects so that they can start with the lab, right? So join on Monday 7 p.m. A few days only class will be there. And once the class mentor covers enough topic, he or she will announce, hey, lab will start from tomorrow. So that way your lab you can log in from 6 p.m. Okay. So hope that's clear about timings, what to do next. Can you just confirm once? Okay. Hope this is same link. Okay. For whatever you joined today, same link you use for your first module. Second module, that link may change. They will let you know. Okay. By then you will be familiar with our system. 7 p.m. on Monday, you need to join using the same link. Okay. So that's it, guys. Can you get some quick feedback about how was today's session? Are you able to build an idea about how the course, how the delivery, the placement process, what's happening in the job market, how is the hardware part of it, how to seek help, support, broad set of topics we have covered. Because he's telling good sir, Shweta is telling very good sir. Can you get some feedback? How did you find today's session? Okay, Teju, Lohit, they're all saying very good. Good sir, very good, say Soham, good sir. Okay, great. Okay, so informative. Thank you, says Nivedita. It was very good and informative, says Vastav. Shreya says yes, sir, it was good. All right, guys. Okay, so thank you very much for joining. Okay. There is a doubt. Today's session was good, sir. I have a doubt. Suppose one company, the company one comes in June, then I attend the interview, and then if I was not able to crack, and if the company one comes again in June, can I attend the interview again? Okay. Again, we don't have a problem, but companies, if they allow, you can attend. Because what happens is companies will have some cooling period, right? Some companies will tell, okay, if you attended, you did not clear the interview, right? You can only reapply after 3 months or 6 months, right? You can apply, no problem. Reapplication, if the company allows, you can do. We don't have a problem. Okay. So check out the application. I think I forgot to show you. They'll put it in red line. They'll say if you attended last, if you applied last time, you can reapply. That time you can reapply. Okay. If sometimes we clearly mention don't apply, so don't apply. It purely depends on the company. Just watch out for the 2, 3, red line. Lokesh will put in a notice, kind of a call out, and then decide accordingly. Okay. Okay, all right, Sanjana is clear. So Abhay is telling, sir, I did internship in Java, but do not have a letter. Do you need to get that, or is it fine, sir? See, it's okay, Abhay, ignore, because it's a Java, right? It's not related to embedded. Okay, you don't need to bother much. You don't need to even go and even get a letter. Okay, it's okay. You can just ignore, because even if you attended, it's not related to embedded. No, it's okay. So Vastav is telling, sir, do we get a chance to see the pre-recorded videos of the previous batches? I am not sure because we'll only enable videos of your batch. If you are checking whether you can see the videos of other batch, you can check with our support team. Okay, just wait for some time. Once your login is created, leave a query via LMS, Learning Management, or send a mail to support. They will clarify you. Okay, I'm not sure. Okay, our technical team would be the right people to answer that. Okay. So Megha says, sir, if I by any issue, if I get leave, can I get recorded sessions of the day? Yes, Megha, every session will get recorded, and typically that recorded one will get uploaded the next day or maximum one day later. I take more days because I have some other things also. So this session I put it in YouTube. Okay, give me another day or two. I will upload early next week. It will reach you. Via YouTube because your LMS or your online portal login is not created. But as far as the classes are concerned, suppose a class gets over today 7 to 9 p.m. Okay, it will typically go uploaded next day or one day later. Okay, within that it will be uploaded all the sessions. Okay, and then you can log into your system and then you can see that. Okay. How projects are done, sir? Because it's telling. So projects, if you see, because we already have a list of predefined projects, right? So the mentors in your lab session, right, the 6 to 6:45 session, they will explain the project, what the project is all about, how you are supposed to, basically execute the project, what is the expected output, etc. And then you can go about implementing a project, and then you can show the output to the mentor depending on the timeline that they assign you. That's how the project works. So typically we expect students to build at least one project per module, but if you want to do more projects, you are welcome. Okay. Suppose the mentor gives you 4 days to complete the project. Some students will complete fast. So please go and talk to your mentor, take additional projects and then do it. The more projects you have, definitely it's going to help you. Okay. Then because he's telling, is there any criteria for attendance? Mentors will take care because as and when you are attending, they have a mechanism where they'll mark the attendance. Okay. You don't need to do anything, they will take care. Then we have Vishal asking this question, sir, this is my final year of engineering. This course will complete in September, but I didn't get certification. If it takes 1 to 2 more months certification, will interviewer agree with us or not? So certification means, Vishal, are you referring to your college certificate?
Yes, sir, I am pursuing. Right.
Vishal, you just type. Audio generally gets into trouble. You can type. So are you talking about your degree certificate? So Nikita is telling, can you please tell me the class timing again? Okay, let me copy paste once again here. Nikita, sorry, yeah, I put it once again. Vishal?
Hello, can you hear me, sir? Can you hear me,
Yeah.
sir?
Yeah, tell me, Vishal.
Sir, my degree will be complete in August or September. So
Okay.
one certificate will be get in September, and this course will be complete in May, June, July, September, October. So I will get certificate after October. So will interviewer will be agree with us or not?
Yeah, you were talking about a degree
Because
certificate.
already I have yes, yes,
Yeah,
already I have 7 mass cards which is I completed. So
yeah.
last
So
mass card and yeah, or last certificate will be receive after 1 or 2 months. So this course.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is when you are completing your degree, there they'll be giving two things. Right?
Yes.
One is what is called the PDC, provisional degree certificate, or some document saying that you completed your engineering. Right? That is, they will give one thing, and then your formal degree certificate will come. Right? Okay. Okay. That's what I understand. Right? So as long as you have any proofs, any kind of a eighth, suppose let's say you completed eight.
The provisional certificate will be agree.
Yeah, yeah, they will agree. Provisional degree certificate is fine. No problem, because they also understand university, it's not your own, only your problem. No, every student will have the same challenge, right? And some of the universities even take more time. So as long as you have provisional as a degree certificate, or some university will give something like a degree temporary, or something will be giving, right? Some proof that you have finished all your course and you don't have any backlog, right? That is good enough. And you have it even if you don't have your formal degree certificate, which comes after so many months. So you don't need to wait. As long as you have provisional, no problem. You can produce to the company, they'll agree. No problem. Like our students have been doing it over the years. Absolutely no problem. Okay. Is it clear, Vishal? Vishal? Okay, maybe he's disconnected. Maybe let him answer. So there are a couple of questions here. Lohit is telling, so I'm 7 years working in PCB field. There's a huge gap. I'm 2013 batch electronics. It will affect, will it affect placement time? No, Lohit, I don't see that as an issue. Okay. I don't know whether I can share something. Let me share because as I told right before this, I attended my monthly meet. Let me quickly show you the latest data. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. I'll just show you something so that you can get what I'm talking about. Let me just share you guys my screen. It's a very typical question, as I said, right? Especially the older batch students will have. You're able to see this my screen, the Excel, Lohit and others.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, yeah. So if you look at this is a summary of when you said right 130 companies have come in April, right? This is it's good that you're asking because I showed before your induction, right? I had my monthly meeting, which every month I show this to what happened in that particular month, right? This is like an April companies list of companies have visited, right? So if you look at this, right, there are 130 companies have visited, right? If you go back and see, right, 130 companies are there in the list. If you just filter the era pass out, let me go and do this data filter. You can see here, this is the eligibility criteria, which era pass out it is. Since you are from 2013, it's quite a older batch, right? So let me go with and filter, apply the filter saying that no year of pass out. Means the companies are asking you can literally be any year. Okay, we can gone up to, I would say 2011, we even gone as back as 2011, right? Suppose if we select this, right? So let us say take the total number of rows here. You can see, okay, if you just see this total number of companies, right? 43 companies are telling only in April that you can be from any year of pass out. Okay, so you're getting what I'm talking about, right? 100 and out of 130 companies visited, 43 companies are telling that you can be from any year of pass out, not only 13, 14, 15, 16, even it can be 22. They don't care. Okay, so per month you will be getting many opportunities, roughly. Here and there may be some difference if you get compared with March, right? I generally say statistically, this is only in April. Statistically, when you look at month on month, right, almost like 40% of the companies say they're not bothered about your year of percentage, right? Similarly, let us say, similarly, some of you are there, right, who said I'm a 2019. Let us say how much we'll filter, right? Let me see 21. Let us say 19. You can see, right? 19 and above, 18, 19, 17, right? You can see, right? And just apply.
Hello.
How many number of companies are there? There are 98 companies are there who are ready to hire people who are from 2019 and above. Right? Since you're 2013, it is little tricky, but that's why I straight away showed that no era pass out companies, right? So here, even if you are, some of you are said that I'm a 2019, 2018, you will be getting what around 98 companies in this month alone. Okay? So there is absolutely nothing to bother about your year of percentage, sorry, year of pass out or percentage. Okay, so that way, opportunity wise, absolutely no issues. This is the April data. Because month on month, I'll be showing you. Next month, probably you'll be attending your monthly meeting, right? Probably you'll be attending the May monthly meet. I'll go to the data. So that way, you'll get a constant update what's happening, and then make the right. Hope this is clear. Lohit, you can just confirm once.
Yeah, sir. Yeah, sir. I just understood.
Yeah, all right. So Vastav is asking, sir, if the video is not uploaded on the same day, then it will be a problem in understanding upcoming class. Requesting you to upload the video on the same day. Since you're working professional, we ensure that we watch the video and attend the sessions, right? So we try, as it will, right? They try, but our team puts their level best, right? Before you show up for the next class, it is uploaded. But as you know, right, we also have our own logistical challenges. That's why I said, one more day you can put. Okay, but one caution I want to tell you is that don't substitute your live class attendance with recorded class, right? Don't say, sir, I'll only watch the video and directly attend, right? Your recorded ones is for backup purpose. In worst case, if you're not able to attend the live classes, you can look into the recorded ones, especially if the network issue, power outage. Only for that purpose we'll give. But apart from that, we recommend you to attend all the sessions and then don't miss any of them. Okay, we try our level best, Vastav. Okay, hope you can understand our challenge also. We try our level best. Okay. Elise is asking, sir, how many years before pass out there's a guaranteed placement for all companies? I think I just showed you, Elise, this is the data. Hope the same answer what I given to Lohit clarified your question also. Just confirm once. If you still have any questions, I'll clarify. Okay. Then Shweta is telling, I've been working 6+ years into hardware and testing and having very minimal knowledge into coding. Will I be getting the basics of C, C++ programming and Linux? Absolutely yes, Shweta. Even though you guys come with some experience, right? Like some will come from, in fact, in the previous monthly meeting, right, we had professors, right, who have been teaching for, let us say, 6 years, 8 years. They've done PhDs. They come and take our course, right? Because they want to become from a professor, they want to transition into corporate, right? So whether you can be a teacher or professor, whether you come from a hardware background, whether you come from an IT background, or you are just a fresher who are 2021 pass out, or you're about to pass out your 2022 batch, etc. Right? For us, we start with level 0. Okay. If you know something already, that is well and good. Okay? But that is not a mandatory thing for you to worry about. Okay. Everything we say, you start with 0. So if you're coming from a complete hardware background, no issues. Okay. My request is just follow what the mentors are telling. Automatically, your programming or your coding skills will improve. Okay. No need to worry, Shweta. Hope that's clear. We may miss sometimes. Yeah, understand, Vastav. We'll try our level best, right? Okay. There is another question here. Sir, I have notice period of 90 days. Is it okay during the placement process? Advice, right? This is a typical problem any working professional will face. Okay. At the same time, you cannot take a risk of resigning your job and then applying through placement, right? I hope we understand, right? So, in fact, this as I said, right, typical problem. A good number of our working professionals will face that, okay, when they're applying for placements, right? So, what we recommend, Advait, or even some of you may be having similar questions. Maybe he's having, what do you say? Many of you may be having 1 month notice period, etc. Right? So, what we suggest people is, right? You don't worry. You go and start applying. Okay? Don't bother too much about this notice period, anything, right? Just go on and apply. Okay? The moment you move little advanced in your process, assuming that your test has gone through, you finish your technical round, you're kind of moving into HR round. You know that you cleared multiple rounds, right? At the time of little later period, anyways, when you go for your interview, in the technical interview, they ask worst case, but technically, generally they don't ask. But in HR interview, they ask, right? Do you have a notice period? I'll say yes. Just be open. No need to hide. No need to tell any stories around it, right? Tell I'm a working, and companies also aware of it. We are also very transparent, telling that our course is taken. But this morning I had a meeting with Happiest Minds. We said our students, our course is also taken by working professional who is looking to switch out to the core side, right? So you tell it, right? Second thing, before even you go to the HR, just let our placement team know. Okay. So typically, what happens is companies are okay to consider your notice period. Okay. So that means you get an offer, you serve the notice period, get a relieving letter, and join. So I don't see any students having any problem, even though we say all the companies who are expecting our students to join immediately, okay, which happens with 99% of the case. We also understand 1% of the case will be there where this working professional notice period will be there, right? And our placement team will talk to you and get it worked out for you. No need to worry at all. You can, and I also strongly recommend that you serve your notice period, get your relieving letter properly, and come. And when you're closing your relationship with your previous company, close it on a good note. Don't run away overnight and join a new company. Don't do that. Okay, that's not at all professional. And what I would do is try to see whether you can negotiate. Okay, whether you can this 3 months, can you make it into 1.5 months, right? Try to see whether you can negotiate. Okay, that would be my recommendation. Is it clear? Advice regarding notice period?
Hello.
Yes.
Hello. Sorry for interruption, sir.
Vishal, I would suggest you type Vishal. Okay.
Sir, some connectivity problem are going here. Some problems are going here, so that's why call was disconnected. So, could you explain again? What did I ask, sir?
No, you were talking about your certificate, right? Your PDC.
Yes, sir.
That's what I told, right? You can have your provisional degree certificate. Okay, that is fine. You don't need to wait till your companies. Suppose you have your PDC and you get placed, you show the PDC to the company. They're fine with that. There won't be any problem.
PDC means, sir?
Sorry.
I did not mean about PDC, sir. Could you explain what is PDC?
Provisional degree certificate. They'll give some provisional certificate, right? That you finish your
Okay.
That is enough.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
Is it clear?
sir. Okay. Yes.
All right.
Clear, sir. Yeah,
Okay.
if I have any questions, so I will ask you, sir. No problem.
Right. You can ask me in monthly meetings, right? And also, you can reach out to a support team, placement team. We all are there. Any doubts? I showed you the mail ID, phone number. You can reach out to them. They'll clarify. Over and above, I will meet you guys once in a month. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Welcome. And Nikita is asking, sir, I didn't understand timing schedule. Will it be a lecture tomorrow? No, Nikita. Okay. For tomorrow, it's a preparation day for us. You can come on Monday, 7 p.m. Okay. Monday, 7 p.m. you come. Subsequently, they will guide you. Okay. Same link you use. Hope that's clear. Okay. How the interview schedule is for a working professional. Okay. This is an interesting question again, because you will be having your duty, your timings, right? What if the interview schedule clashes with that, right? we try to schedule when your work, when you are available, either little early in the morning or little late in the evening. We can be flexible about it. Okay. My request is please work with our placement team, right? Suppose there is an application coming, right? Suppose an interview schedule is given to you, right? You immediately revert back to them saying that I'm a working professional, I'm some so and so batch, so please reschedule. That is possible. Okay, so that time what happens, because what happens, we have so many hundreds of students applying every day. Even though we try, but often we cannot keep track of batch number and whether it's a online, evening, etc. Right? But if we just alert them, send them a message in WhatsApp or email them, they will get it rescheduled for you. No problem. Okay, and we are also clear about it. The company also know that you are working. We'll schedule it accordingly. Right? Hope that's clear, because. So when will be the next session? How will come to know? I think I already clarified, right? I don't know why there's a confusion, right? Your next session is on Monday, 7 p.m. Use the same link and join, and then you will continue. And if you have any questions in the meantime, put it in WhatsApp group. Okay. So your next session will be on Monday, 7 p.m. Same link. Okay. Then you go through for a few weeks, a few days. Then the lab will start after that. For next whole week, don't worry. Okay. Dial in at 7 p.m. That's it. As simple as that. Okay. Is that clear, guys? Is there any questions? Any other questions? I know it's 9:30. It's dinner time. Did it give you clarity? Are you clear? Okay, Teju. Any other questions? Of course, as you move more, you'll have more questions. I'm not telling all the questions are clarified. I would say we have clarified all the questions which came today, right? Okay. As you move forward, you will have more and more and more and more questions, right? If you see monthly meetings, right, it will be bombarded with questions, right? So we'll answer everything. Be rest assured that we are here to support you. And just follow what the mentors are telling, and then work on your skill set, work on your assignment, work on your project. Then definitely success will come to you automatically. Okay. So Vastav, it was very precise and good presentation on all the facts and figures. Thanks, Vastav. Okay. So thank you, guys. Take care.
Hello.
Good night, and see you later. Yeah. Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Hello. Sir, what I'm talking about percentage, what will interviewer look? They look only engineering percentage or diploma 10 percentage. What they will be look, sir?
So we'll discuss this point later, Vishal. Okay, we'll probably take it up in our monthly meeting. Okay, we'll discuss in
Because
detail about
because
this question.
lots of company are doing 10th, 12th diploma and engineering. So I
Yeah,
want to know what they look engineering or diploma. Yeah, 10th.
yeah. Give me some time. I think it's a little late in the night now, and it will be quite a long discussion for you
Okay,
to tell.
okay.
Monthly meeting,
Okay,
you
okay.
can.
Keep in your mind this question, sir, and explain about this
Yeah, we'll
later.
discuss it. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, 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 okay.
Okay. Thank you very much for joining today's call. We'll see you in the next monthly meeting, preferably in the month of May. Okay. In the meantime, please focus your classes and labs. I wish you all the very best. Okay. Good night and take care.